Welcome to Locked On Warriors. On today's show, Connor Letourneau and Bram Hillsman join me to discuss the Warriors' finals chances and wonder if Steph Curry will ever win another MVP.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, it is a Tuesday edition of Locked On Warriors, your daily podcast covering all things Warriors. I'm Wes Goldberg. However you may be listening, YouTube, Odyssey, or on your favorite podcast app, thank you for making Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Rock Auto. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. Visit rockauto.com and tell them Locked On sent you. I have the great pleasure of being joined by Connor Letourneau from the San Francisco Chronicle and Bram Hillsman, the host of the very popular Warriors podcast, Warriors Huddle, and the guy who invited me to his fantasy basketball league, and I haven't screwed it up royally just yet. How are we all doing here?
I'm a little distracted. I'm distracted for a couple of reasons. One, I was announced second. I was told I was going to be announced first, which is the main reason I'm here. So I'm a little pissy about that. But secondly, I never do video pods ever. And we're doing one now. And I got to tell you that I spend most Zoom meetings just looking at my picture. And that's already happening now. So I don't know, man. Like if you ask me some stuff and I'm not immediately answering, it's only because I'm pompous and self-centered. And I apologize in advance.
That's how I cut down on the vanity.
Though, Bram, this is a gift. I hope everyone who's listening to this is also watching this because Bram is a beautiful man.
Yeah, I really appreciate you saying that, Connor. And any shit talking I was going to do, I'm no longer going to. I'm 100% Team Connor now, just on board.
Bram's winning the background. He's got like the exposed brick. He looked like the Muhammad Ali photo in the background, very sophisticated. And we're looking into Connor's like open closet. So that's all
I'm
good.
Actually outside. This is complete fake, but I'm glad that it's, it's setting up. So, I'll take it. Giant win.
So here's what we're going to do on today's show, boys. We are going to get to the Tuesday trivia later on in the show. Bram has never been a part of it. Connor has always been a part of it by definition of the segment. But I'm sure Bram will have some sort of input. I'm not really sure. I don't think he'll play very well. But we could actually go versus on this. That'll actually be pretty fun. And then we'll play some fortune teller later on, predict some things for the Warriors in the year 2025. But first, I just want to start with the Warriors start 3-0. California sweep to begin the season. Steph played well in one of those two games, but it hasn't really mattered because the supporting cast has stepped up. Bram, we talked to Connor last week, so I will start with you here in order to get your confidence back up. What has been your takeaway from the Warriors start so far?
Nothing but red hot, probably far too big optimism. I went from game 1 to game 3 trying to calm myself down. This is right in the beginning. This means nothing. But when you factor in the 4-0 preseason, and yeah, I'll go ahead and throw out that they're in fact 7-0. But let's go. I was testing you, Connor, and you've already, that was step 1 of the trivia, and you're 1 for 1. So that a boy. But what I've been is incredibly hard. We've seen both sides. We saw a game where Steph Curry played like quote unquote trash and they won. We saw a game where the rest of the team didn't play very well and Steph came through. They won. We're seeing a return to the bench celebrations. We're seeing a return to the ball movement. We're seeing a return to all the things that have made me so fired up as a Warrior fan during the dynastic run. So how am I feeling? I'm feeling crazy excited, boys. This year could not have gotten off to a better start.
Did you go to the Clippers game?
I did. My first game in a long time. For what it's worth, it's the only downside of so going was incredible. Loved it. As a season ticket holder, the reason I was there is because the secondary market is still pretty low. Tried to sell that game to knock down my prices and was unable to. So I did go, loved it. But if we're looking for a negative, it's that I've already spent too much money on my season tickets.
Tell me about the energy in the building.
Let's see. I'm going to give you 2 sides to it. So let's start with the optimism. As an East Bay guy, born and raised in Oakland, I've been going to Warriors games in the East Bay my entire life. I'm resentful. If I'm being honest, I was pissy about them moving to Chase, and I've been really worried about what the fan base would do there. When I went and watched Steph go crazy in the first, it's not the same, but it's a competent crowd. They absolutely got involved. They knew when to provide support. The big test is when they're playing poorly and see whether or not the fans show up. But when they're playing well, yeah, I enjoyed it. The other thing worth mentioning, and I think Monte Poole mentioned this on social media, but the game I went to had an E40 concert. And when he actually performed at halftime, It was another illustration of how the crowds shifted. Nobody was in their seats. Everybody got up and bounced. So while they were happy to see him walk in and sit next to Joe Lacob, they had no interest in his music, which probably shows the difference between the crowd. It's a different group. It's an absolutely different group. But, you know, I went there to watch them cheer for the Warriors, not cheer for E40, and they did that.
Connor, you might remember this.
Fans, real quick, halftime concerts are really awkward and weird in general. Like, even if it's E40, they're just weird things.
Well, because you're planning, you're like, all right, at halftime, I'm going to get up and use the bathroom. I'm going to grab some chicken tenders or something. And they're like, oh, wait, E40's playing? Now what do I do? Chicken tenders or E40? It kind of puts you in a tough, like, in any other circumstance, it would be E40. You go just see E40, you forget the chicken tenders. But if you've already been planning for chicken tenders and not planning for E40. Connor, do you remember when we were at Staples Center? I guess this would have been 2 years now. And T-Pain had a surprise halftime concert. And I was literally the only reporter who cared. And everybody was walking back to the media room. And I was like, how are you guys leaving right now? It's T-Pain. Nobody else cared.
I think Nick Friedel cared as well, but
you
were probably the only two. I personally did not care, and I still
no. You walked away. I was like, "How could you walk away?" And you were like, "They got soft serve in the media center, in the media room." I was like,
"I have another random E40 update for you. When they first brought him in, first half pre-concert, he was spending the game sitting next to Joe Lacob. Oh. And if you can have a more random pairing than E40 and Joe Lacob sit next to one another, and I was definitely kind of checking them out from behind. I mean, a lot of rows behind. It looked like the kind of scenario where they tried to talk at first, like they both leaned in to say something and they said something at the same time, like, and then they just immediately looked the other way. And like, we're just like, oh, well, how about we somehow get to halftime, let this like pass and just not sit next to each other at all. It was fun to watch.
Yeah, one of my first moments where I'm like, oh, okay, like I'm a Warriors beat writer now was when I just passed through like Oracle. I guess I wasn't a beat writer at the time, but I was at Oracle and I just saw Guy Fieri and E40 just having a random conversation in the hallways, like right outside the Warriors locker room. And I was just like, this happens? All right, Bram, I'm going to go back to something you said about how what the fans are going to do when the Warriors are playing poorly. Obviously, they haven't really played all that poorly so far, but they will at some point. It's just going to happen. That's the way things are. Connor, how sustainable do you feel like this start is for the Warriors? Have your expectations changed? Tell me why they're not going to go 82-0.
Well, they're not going to go 82-0 because no team ever has gone 82-0, and it's literally impossible. So they're not going to go.
That was question number 2 on trivia, and you nailed it.
I also don't think they're going to break their own wins record. I don't think they're going to top that 72 mark.
Some bold predictions here from Connor.
But like Bram, I'm incredibly encouraged, surprised, whatever other adjective you want to, or I guess verb, sorry, whatever verb you want to throw in there. It looks like all the pieces fit perfectly. I mean, a basketball team is a puzzle, and it feels like it usually takes at least a few months to make sure all the pieces fit right. But right now, I mean, since day one of the preseason opener, they've looked like they just meshed. They look like they're in midseason form. They look like they know where they're supposed to be on the floor, both offensively and defensively. They know how to play off each other. It's kind of incredible. And all of the what seemed like relatively minor offseason additions look like relative coups on the deals they got them on. Guys like Otto Porter Jr., Bielitsa. What? Like, the guy didn't even play for Miami last year. Everyone thought he was injured. He told Wes, I mean, he told us all, but Wes, you asked the question, I'm going to give you credit. He told Wes that he actually was able to play. They just wouldn't play him. Here he is, like a key difference maker on a winning team. It feels too good to be true. Maybe it is, but part of me really does feel like this team's for real. Like, It does feel like this could just be one of those, pixie dust and unicorn type seasons.
Yeah.
We've talked about in the 2 seasons leading up to this one, the problems with the Warriors roster construction. That it didn't seem to be all heading in one direction, that they didn't necessarily fit for Kerr's offense. We had a lot of thrones to stow, and they were all justified. I'm 3 games in, right? We're just at the beginning, but I think you can say the exact opposite, right? All of these puzzle pieces, at least on the roster, seem to fit together. And more than that, when you put these puzzle pieces together, the image that they show is Kerr's offense. These are all smart, competent people who are comfortable moving the ball, making the right decision. Didn't have enough of those guys over the last 2 years, and now the roster is overflowing with them. So, big things, man. These are not small additions.
I do wonder what will happen when James Wiseman and Jonathan Kuminga come back, and if Steve Kerr feels, for whatever reason, compelled to get those guys minutes, because it's not going to look the way it does now if those guys are on the floor. It just won't. And it's not I'm not saying anything about their outlooks, their future, but it's just not going to look the way it does right now. Connor, I asked you last week, have expectations changed? We talked about that a little bit. Kind of want to play on that question a little bit. Before the season, we talked about maybe, hey, the goal should be playoffs, right? Like, you haven't been in the playoffs for 2 years in a row now. You got to be back to the postseason. Anything less than that would be a disappointment. Based on what we have seen, does that scale for disappointment change at all? Like, what now would, like, what's the best that they could do that would be a disappointment? Bram, I'll start with you.
Too early. 3 games in, too early. I would still be fine. I'd still be fine if they got, 6 seed, 5 seed. If this continues, right? You look at this, the first 10 games, the next few are very winnable. There is a reality where this Warriors team should start 8-2, 9-1, 10-0. If we get there, if we're into double digits and we're still overflowing with optimism, then I think anything short of a second round appearance in the playoffs would be remarkably disappointed. And that's me kind of short-arming it, secretly, and I won't say it into this mic, I would be hoping that they're going to be a lot, we're looking at a Western Conference Finals berth as a disappointment. But for now, still those expectations, we can't raise the bar based on only 3 games, but we're not too far away from getting to raise that bar.
Connor?
This is going to be incredibly hyperbolic, but I'm no longer on the beat, so I can do whatever I want. I would be disappointed if they didn't make the finals or win a title. And here's why. I feel like I know it's a 3-game sample size. You can say 8 games if you want to count the preseason. I know it's an incredibly small sample size, but I have seen enough to believe that this team is a legitimate contender. And once you're that level of caliber of team, you're a contender, it's championship or bust, right? I mean, you shouldn't be a contender and be satisfied with making the Western Conference Finals or getting to the second round of the playoffs. The point is to win the title or at least make the finals. So that's kind of where my expectations are going with this team. And it's because of what I talked about earlier, all the puzzle pieces fitting right. The depth. I mean, Steve Kerr is having a hard time playing guys who've been incredibly helpful. Like Juan Toscano-Anderson was one of their better rotation guys last season, has gotten no worse at the game of basketball and is struggling to get meaningful minutes because there's just so many guys. Otto Porter Jr., same thing. Like he's proven to be a legitimate rotation caliber guy, especially when healthy, which he is, and he's struggling to get big time minutes. And so there's just so many options, and that's without James Wiseman and Klay Thompson. And so, you got to believe that once Klay comes back, even if he's just close to 100% toward the end of the regular season, they're at least legitimate title contenders, if not favorites. I mean, that's.
I won't go so far as favorites. NBA.com in their latest power rankings has them at number 2, behind only Utah, who's also in the Western Conference. ESPN has them, I believe, at 5, and The Athletic has them at 8. I don't know what any of that means. It really doesn't mean anything, but it means something.
None of this means anything, by the way.
Well,
but
you know who agrees with you, and this might mean something. Kerr. Here's why I say that. That last game against Sacramento, what did we hear beforehand? Nemanja Bjelica saying, this is not normal. This game means a lot to me. I really want to go in there and punish my old team. And Kerr knew it, and he let Nemanja in on the rotation way early. Nemanja has a shitburger first quarter. What happens after that? He's gone. They pull his ass out. We don't see him again for the rest of the time. What that is telling me is that Kerr, like he said before the season, is quote unquote chasing wins. He believes in this team. He thinks that their upside is remarkably high, and he's not playing around and making sure that they reach that upside. Wes, you mentioned one of the things we still have to get through is how are they going to work in Wiseman? How are they going to work in Kuminga? Wiseman, they didn't have an opportunity to do this. But you, on a previous episode of the Huddle, helped me realize why I don't have to worry about that. During the preseason, you know what Kerr didn't do? Hammer in Kuminga. He didn't make sure to see how he fits in, which is when you would do it, right? When the games didn't matter. Even during the preseason, this coaching staff, led by Kerr, recognized, no, there's big things to accomplish, and let's go for it. Let's, quote unquote, chase wins. So I don't know if they'd come out and make their hyperbolic bar as high as Connor just did. But I bet you, and when they're having drinks and there's no microphones around, I would guess that that's what they're hoping. They're viewing this team as a contended team.
All right. Well, we looked ahead in the future a little bit. Let's go even further down into the future with our next segment, Fortune Teller, coming up next. But first, this episode is brought to you by DirecTV Stream. Does this sound familiar? You've got one device that lets you catch the game live, another that lets you stream your favorite shows, and you're watching sports highlights on your phone, and you've got your neighbor's best friends log in for the good stuff. Well, I want to tell you about a simple way to get all that entertainment that you love without the hassle, and a great way to finally get your TV together. It's called DirecTV Stream, and it brings your live TV and on-demand favorites together like never before, so you can watch your favorite sports, movies, and shows all in one place. That means no more juggling remotes, no need to buy another device ever again. And the best part is that there's no annual contract. So get rid of the clutter and the confusion and get your TV together with DirecTV Stream. You can learn more at directtv.com. That's directtv.com. Compatible device required. Content varies by package. All right, thanks for making Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms. Connor Letourneau from the San Francisco Chronicle and Bram Hillsman from the Warriors Huddle podcast here with me today. We're going to play a game that we are going to call Fortune Teller. So what I have is a pack of questions here. We are going to predict the year 2025. So the first question I have for you guys is, Steph has blank more MVPs in the year 2025.
I'll follow you, Connor. But before you answer it, let me ask you, Connor, directly to you. Are you bitter at all at how professional Wes looks with his headphones and microphone? I mean, we're over here just talking heads, looking like two college dudes speaking.
I got an open closet.
You're making me feel better. You should be
have a shower today.
I just want to make sure. So you are in fact pissed at Wes, because I am, dude. No one told me that we had to have headphones or a dope microphone. I was not prepared for this.
In fairness, this is what Wes does. This is his thing. For me, this is a very secondary fun thing I like to do on the side. But Wes, and I credit Wes, he's a true pros pro when it comes to this. So I'm not upset about it at all.
Thanks, Connor, for turning that back on to Bram. And
okay. I was just about to ask you, Wes, am I supposed to be bitter now?
Yes.
I mean, he knows that I do a podcast. I try. You see me reach out across this screen and be like, Connor, let's be on the same team. Just punch me right in the face, dude. Right in the face.
If you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen, Bram.
I mean,
are we
I can't
not
believe
friends anymore? Are we not hanging out this next week or?
No, definitely not. I'm spending this week buying a microphone and headphones, dude. That's the only thing that's going to. I spent all my money on a background and still got screwed.
You're pro, but you're also pro at the thing that you do that you're in an office for now. So you got multiple things you're a pro at.
I have a microphone and headphones.
Let him have it.
I'm getting it. I'm getting my microphone out. Here it is right here. Look, it's not even going to work, but I'm going to set it up. That's what's up. No problems. Go ahead. Well, back to you, Connor. You're answering the question while I set up this microphone.
Steph Curry, blank MVPs.
Wow.
I'm going to say one more MVP. Okay. Could very well be this season. I think that the way he is right now, and probably for at least the next year or two, he's going to play at an MVP level. Just the question is, assuming he stays healthy, the question is the team going to be good enough for him to win the MVP? And based off the very small sample size that we have right now, I think there's a realistic shot that they are good enough for him to win at least one more title. It could be two, but I'm going to say one just to be safe. There's a lot of really good players in this league, so it's really hard to win the MVP.
Ram.
I agree. So let's see. Let's start optimistic. I think he does win another one. The reason I think he'll win another one is because, and it's an ironic answer, but it's because the uptick in all the talent surrounding him. That's going to do two things for him. One, going to keep him in the upper echelon for more years. They're not going to need him to take every shot. They're not going to need him to be the main guy on the floor for every goddamn moment. So I think that means his legs are going to last a little bit longer, and we're going to see him be more competent for a longer period of time. Two, maybe more importantly, they're going to stay in the middle of the NBA's attention sphere, right? For as long as they're contenders, there's going to be way more people covering him. For as long as there's more people covering him, there's a better shot at an MVP. So I think it happens again. But I also think we're right up on the precipice of this whole other generation of players. the Luka Doncic's of the world, all these other guys who are coming for the throne. And so I'm going to say 1. I think he gets another one, but I think that's the limit. And you didn't ask, but I'll say it nonetheless. I also think he ends up with the Finals MVP.
The last player to win an MVP at the age 33 or older, Karl Malone, 1998-1999 season. He won MVP at 35. The last time it happened before that was Michael Jordan. The year before, he was 34. The last time it happened before that was Malone. He was 33 in the 96-97 season. That also happens to be the end of the list of players in NBA history who have won an MVP at age 33 or older.
Steve Nash did it?
What?
Steve Nash?
He was not 33 at that point. And so I'm not saying it's impossible for Steph. And it takes players like Steph, all-time greats, to get back onto that list, right? Like Michael Jordan did it at that age because he was MJ. Karl Malone probably didn't deserve 1 or 2 of those MVPs, but he got it. I think I'm not saying that's all. I point that out only to say that if Steph wins another an MVP at 33 or older, it would be a phenomenal accomplishment. The other part, and I agree with all the points that you guys made. The other thing I would say is the game is trending in the right direction for Steph. More and more threes are being taken. He is still the best at doing that. And so as the game trends with him, his age won't matter as much, right? It won't be so obvious the way it was. But there is a really good crop of young players coming on. To me, I don't really care if he wins another MVP. That does not matter when I talk legacy. Bram, I'm with you. I think he needs to win a Finals MVP. That to me would be more important because right now it's the only hole on his resume, and we can debate whether or not it should or not. But
nobody said he needs to. You're not agreeing with me on that. I said he's going to. I don't think he needs to. I think that his legacy is completely cemented. Also, Connor, is this Phil West going to answer his own question? I mean, he's talking about like he might, and there's reasons, but he hasn't told us if he actually thinks he's going to win another one by 2025.
I don't think he will. I don't think he will. I think he will finish in the top 3, 4, and 5 basically every year for the next 3 years at least. And I think that matters. I don't think we talk about that enough when it comes to players and their legacies. Like these top 5 finishes in MVP ranking kind of give you a snapshot of what that season was and who matters over the course of whatever amount of years, whatever kind of sample that you want to draw from. And I think he's going to be right up there.
I would love that to be listed on a player's resume, honestly, like MVP finalist or what have you.
Well, I don't know that players actually have resumes that like are turned in to people.
Well,
so we can list it on our resumes.
When you go on Wikipedia, you type in a player's name to Wikipedia and you see like their little resume on the side. You see
we can edit Wikipedia. Should we make that our project? We just go into every player's Wikipedia page and log how many top 5 finishes they had.
That's what I'm talking about when I talk about resume.
I would support you right now, Connor, but you punched me in the face earlier. So, I mean, I'm just going to sit here and I'm not going to say anything to help you.
Jordan Poole, blank All-Stars by the year 2025.
0.
Okay.
Jordan Poole is looking like he's going to be a really nice NBA player. He already is a nice NBA player. I see him a la like a Lou Williams or Jamal Crawford guy who's like a really good 6-man off the bench for good teams for years to come, puts up numbers, averages around like 17 points per game, and relatively efficient shooting, can't play great defense, not a very well-rounded player, but is helpful offensively. And that's not an all-star caliber player. That's a good player, not an all-star caliber player.
Brand.
I don't want to answer this because I agree with Connor, and it really hurts me to say anything but like hyperbolic optimism when it comes to Jordan Poole. But I think that Jamal Crawford.
I could have asked how many MVPs he wins by 2025.
That would have been easier for me to answer. I mean, like at least then I would have been exposing. I'm not sure he's going to be an all-star. So. Yeah, I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say 0 All-Stars between then and now, but that's more of a reflection of how deep and talented the Western Conference is than how talented or deep I think Jordan Poole is.
I think Jordan Poole wins the 6th Man of the Year by 2025, or is at least in the conversation. But I think players like him don't make All-Star games. He's not really a 2-way player. He's not really going to be able to at any point because he's small inherently.
He's also
there's
not
just
going
a
to be
limit
starting for a while,
and he's not going to be starting, and that's the thing. I mean, I think there's a world where if they were to trade Andrew Wiggins or like 3 years from now when Wiggins' contract is up, you could play 3 guards with Steph, Poole, and Clay. You see the league trending that way anyway, but I think at best he's a fringe starter, and
Poole
players like that don't make all-star games.
Lineup, though, and I don't know if I like that. I mean, because they're not moving Clay. Clay is not moving off the 2.
He'd also need a media narrative that's probably not going to happen. If, like, God forbid, Steph and Clay are not on there's no reason that's going to happen. But between now and 2025, and Steph and Clay are not on the team, and the media narrative here in the Bay is all focusing on how great Jordan Poole is, there's a chance. There's a chance. But that's not what's going to happen. You know, that's not going to be the name that we're going to see on all of our sports pages. And because of that, you know, he's got an uphill climb.
Back to you, Connor. Klay Thompson, blank All-Stars by 2025.
Man, that one's tough. I'm going to say 2025 is 4 years from now. I'm going to say 2 more. I think he's got 2 more in him. I don't think he's going to be quite the same player he was pre-injuries, especially defensively. But I think he's going to be an essential cog of a highly competitive contending team for the next several years. And I think that especially when you factor in his legacy and his reputation in the league and how revered and liked he is, I think he's going to sneak in at least 1 or 2 more All-Stars.
Bram?
Piggyback that. I'll say 2 as well. Right. I think that he is going to get, assuming that what we said before is true, that the Warriors are not only back, but are going to be back for a little while. You know, the next few years are going to be the apple of the NBA's eye, and everybody loves Klay anyways. Just the feel-good story is going to result in 1, and I think his play will result in 2. So, yeah, I'll go 2, although I am optimistic.
I'll hedge. I'm going to go 1 just because we don't know what he looks like, but people love Klay Thompson, and he's going to get so many votes just because he's Klay. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that he makes 2. And then at that point, age starts to catch up. Other people in the Western Conference start to catch up. But I'm going to hedge. I'm just going to go 1 for now because I don't want to be too optimistic. I just want him to be back healthy. All right. 4th question. In 2025, the Warriors would have won blank titles in that time span.
Go ahead, Connor.
Yeah.
If you had asked me this a week ago, I would have said 0. But I'm feeling really optimistic right now, as you guys can see. So
championship or bust.
In a good mood today, honestly. So I'm gonna say 1. I honestly think they have a chance this season. And I think next season, when you hopefully have a healthy Klay for a whole season, potentially you have Jordan Poole come off the bench, I think they have a real shot. I think they conceivably could have a real shot at contention for the next 3, maybe even 4 years. So I think, and it's so hard to win a title. They're not going to win all those years. But if they could, I think it's possible that they could win 1 more. In fact, I think it's likely that they'll win 1 more. So
I say 1. I don't know when it happens. If I had to put money on it, I would say 1. And I'll add a question to you, Wes. Between now and 2025, do you think Connor will close his closet door?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's full. Immediately acknowledge that it looks weird that it's open. It's been open for 25 minutes. Just kept it open. Just did not care in any way.
All right. Final question. And let's make this one quick. Don't need an explanation. Just give me your 5. Warriors starting lineup in 2025 is Connor?
Oh, that's a fun question. 2025. So Steph will be 37.
All right. Yeah. I said make this quick. You're not doing a great job.
Okay. Well, you gotta think through it. I mean, come on. So I'm gonna say Steph. I'm gonna say Steph, Klay, not Andrew Wiggins. I'm gonna say Jonathan Kuminga at the 3, and then still Draymond, and then center James Wiseman.
Steph, Klay, Kuminga, Wiseman, player X, a guy who is not currently on the team. We do not know of them. Draymond by 2025, I do not believe, might be a Warrior. I don't think he'll be starting. I think at that stage, if he is a Warrior, they'll be judiciously monitoring his minutes and putting him in when they need him and, you know, when he has the biggest impact on the game. Who that player X is, I could spend the next 10 minutes guessing, but you told me I don't have a whole lot of time. Right. So, I'll keep it fast.
I got Steph, Klay, Kuminga, and then 2 players to be determined. Could be Moody. I think Moody could be in there, and Kuminga could play the 4. We're talking about 5 years from now. It's just the league's just going to get faster and smaller.
You hate James Wiseman. You shouldn't. I mean, you could have included Wiseman just for optimistic purposes.
He's always had it out for James Wiseman.
He does.
Everybody knows I don't hate James.
That is 100%. He does. Absolutely.
What did Wiseman ever do to you?
I've like kicked him. I don't know. I'd like that. Okay, we're about to lose you.
Like a big sit-down interview for this huge piece you wrote last season, and you just treat him like.
Enjoyed all my interactions with James. Maybe he's not starting. Tuesday trivia is next. This is Locked On Warriors. Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. We're back at better than ever, a new web interface to start the basketball season, and more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline remains your number one spot for all of the basketball and football action this season. Head to our new updated desktop or mobile site to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use that promo code Locked On to get that bonus. From basketball, football, baseball, postseason, NHL, boxing, the UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all of the amazing offers available for this 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all of your favorite sports. It's BetOnline, where the game starts. Today's show is also brought to you by Rock Auto. With the ever-increasing number of makes and models, it's impossible for your local chain auto parts store to stock all the parts you need. Why would you endure often pointless or seemingly intimidating questions and wait while the person behind the counter orders the parts on their computer, choosing the only brand that their warehouse happens to carry? You have a computer with access to rockauto.com at home and in your pocket. Save time and money when using Rock Auto. Why choose to spend 30%, 50%, even 100% more for the same parts from a chain store or car dealership? Rock Auto is a family business serving do-it-yourselfers for more than 20 years. And Rock Auto prices are reliably low for every customer. They have everything you need, from brake parts, tail lamps, motor oil, even new carpet. Go explore their easy-to-use website today and find the solution to your auto parts needs. Go to rockauto.com right now and see all the parts available for your car or truck, and then write Locked On in their How Did You Hear About Us box so they know we sent you. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need, rockauto.com. All right. It is time for La Tuesday Trivia. Connor, I'm pretty sure this will be the last edition of La Tuesday Trivia ever, because this is my last week hosting Locked On Warriors.
Oh, man, is this my last? This is our last La Tuesday ever?
I think it is, because I don't know who's getting the show next, and they might not want to bring you on.
I know, and like.
I literally don't know. It's actually the one person you hate and don't know.
It's that guy?
Yeah. All right. So for those who don't know, La Tuesday Trivia, and you're catching up at a really bad time, but La Tuesday Trivia, Connor and I used to sit together on Media Row, and so we would travel, we would see all these different games, different teams, players that I never heard of, and Connor just has like this Rain Man type of ability to just tell you exactly where each player went to college, when they were drafted, what high school he went to, where he was born, what his parents did for a living, like all that kind of stuff. And it was just insane. It was just like this encyclopedia, or even a Wikipedia type of memory that he had for these players. So I came up with this game to just basically, hey, here's a bunch of players. Tell me where they went to college. Easy enough as far as a concept, hard as far as execution. Each one has a theme. Last year, it was everybody that ever played in the league with the last name Simmons. This time, it's not quite so complicated. The Warriors, 2 of their next 3 games are against the Oklahoma City Thunder, so we should get to know that roster. So
can I ask a clarifying question? Did you just say I came up with this game? But I don't think that asking what colleges players went to is a thing that's original to Wes Goldberg. I'm just going to throw that out there. I don't know, but
I've never heard of it.
I feel like it's probably been used. Maybe
I actually think I came up with the word trivia also.
That is true. Okay, that one I had never heard of. But I'm just asking about colleges. I'm just have some issues with that. I'm not sure that's entirely accurate.
Fair enough. But we are going to do it based on the Oklahoma City Thunder roster. And we will start if you are ready, Connor. Bram, you know what? Let's make this interesting.
Oh, I know nothing about trivia. I just tried. The only reason I talked 10 seconds ago is so that they heard my voice during this segment.
Right.
Too. I
think I'll answer the questions, but I want some sort of BS witty response to every answer from Bram.
I am promising nothing. That's what I'm promising. I'm promising nothing. And if I need to, I will turn off the video and disappear into the night. So we'll see. We'll see what ultimately goes down.
We'll start with Connor, then go to Bram, and then we'll kind of snake draft this thing.
I don't like this. I'm just being clear right from the jump. All right, let's go.
All right. Our first Oklahoma City Thunder player is one Mike Muscala. Connor.
Bucknell University.
Bram.
I'm going to have to go. I mean, that's obvious. Bucknell University, dude. Who doesn't know about Muscala? Okay, wait a minute. You told me these are going to be hard. Maybe I am going to be pretty good at this. Let's go.
He played in the NCAA tournament. I think he took Bucknell to like the second round.
Would you let me finish my sentence, Connor? Because he played in the NCAA tournament, and I'm pretty sure they made it to like the second round, dude. And if you wouldn't, I'd appreciate if you give me some room. I mean, I got some knowledge here, and I'd like to put it out there.
Bucknell Bison, brother.
Kenrich Williams. Bram, you first.
I have no idea. UC Santa Cruz. And I think he dragged him to the NCAA. I have absolutely no idea.
Fudge. I feel like I should know this one. Kendrick Williams is NC State.
The answer, you're both wrong. The answer is TCU.
Do you mind if I suggest a altered version of this game?
Sure.
So Connor obviously may or may not know this stuff, and that's out there. We'll find out. I obviously also don't. The only people I know is Shy. Everybody else, I have no idea for. So, not Shy is what I like to call him. We're that close. We went to college together. But what I'd suggest is we throw it to Connor. But Wes, you and I guess whether or not Connor will know it.
There we go.
I should have gotten that one. I'm actually mad at myself. I'm not following the league like I used to because I'm not on the beat anymore. That's my excuse.
Darius Basley. Bram, do we think he knows it?
Definitely.
I think so too.
I think this is right up his alley for sure.
Connor.
He did not go to college. He did the Under Armour internship. He was the only player to ever do that. He's from Ohio. I believe he's from the Cincinnati area. Went to the same high school as Carmen Electra.
I'm not going to ask why you know what high school Carmen Electra went to. I'm going to leave that just for the listeners to figure out. I will say this. I am not counting it because you said it was the Under Armour internship. It was, in fact, the New Balance internship.
Oh,
you're going to get
he let us down. And you didn't have to do that, Connor. You could have had a right answer.
I knew it was New Balance. I just mixed them up in my mind. It was
decided to show off.
It doesn't work on Jeopardy. It doesn't work here.
Was I wrong about the high school, though?
I don't know. I have no idea.
You would have been right.
That counts. We're counting that one.
You screwed us all. You screwed us all. No. You screwed us all. All three of us are wrong because you decided to show off, dude.
That's right. It's wrong. You said Under Armour. It was New Balance.
I knew that. What's wrong with me today?
We'll never know.
I think I ask you that every single day. Jeremiah Robinson Earl. Bram, do we think he knows it?
No, I'm going to say no. I think he's a little rattled. I think he was a little rattled from that last one. Normally he would know it, but he's feeling a little nervous right now.
Right.
Like he's still kind of in his head. It's like a quarterback who threw an interception the previous quarter. So no, I think he flubs this one for sure.
You got to goldfish this thing, Connor. Here's a hint. He did not ever work for Under Armour.
Or New Balance. Or New Balance.
Exactly right. I should know this. He's
going down a hole, Wes. He's going to miss the next one too. I don't even know what the player is. He's going to miss the next one too.
Michigan?
Bram, do you want to wager a guess by chance here?
No, all I can do is give the witty stuff.
Where'd he go?
Went to Villanova. He's a rookie drafted in the second round, number 32 overall.
Wait, who is this?
Jeremiah Robinson Earl.
Oh, yeah. Villanova. That makes perfect sense.
Yep.
Off my game today.
All right. Last one, and then we'll have a bonus later on. I can't even read my own handwriting right now. I think it's Gabriel Deck is the guy's name. And he does play for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Let me just make sure that that's right. Yeah, Gabriel Deck. He's a power forward who plays for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Brand, do we think he knows it?
Kentucky?
No, he's in a death spiral. I don't think normally he would.
It's over.
One, yeah, it's gone. It's gone.
There's a 3-1 lead and it's gone now.
What's scandalous is I know this one. So I mean, it's going to be really embarrassing.
Wow, Bram's got some hidden knowledge here. So what's your guess, Connor?
Kentucky.
That's gonna be wrong. Bram.
Say no college at all.
No college at all. You want to guess a country then, or like a high school or?
High school, I do not. Let's see. Argentina. I think he played out overseas. I'm trying to remember, but I'm going to say it's Argentina.
Bram, you are going to be correct on this.
What? Boom. Let's go. Let's go. That's what's up, dude. Everyone thought I didn't have knowledge on this. I basically slow rolled you guys. I think I won one.
I need to get off.
Connor, you care to do the bonus or not? You don't have to take it.
I'll do the bonus. I'm going to redeem myself.
Oh, okay. Connor, I'm going to be like your coach here. Now just stop, dude. Forget what's happened. It doesn't matter. The segment's named after you. Everybody knows what you're going to be, what you're capable of. Lock back in, dude.
Give me the question.
Isaiah Roby.
He's got this one. He's got it for sure.
Isaiah Roby went to Nebraska.
Boom. There you go.
I should be
Connor Letourneau.
I should be a coach. You should be thanking me, Connor. I got your back, buddy. I'm not sure that success would have happened without my little pep talk there. So I feel very good about how I contribute.
Bram, do you want to guess where Isaiah Roby went to college?
Did he play in Argentina?
He did not.
Oh, right when I was on fire.
So right there, Connor, you were going to win by 1. You beat Bram 3-2, even though it wasn't really a competition. I still can't believe you got Argentina. That's insane.
Yeah, well, I have my moments.
This was great fun, guys. Both of you, I appreciate it for jumping on for my last week on Locked On Warriors. Both of you have been two of my favorite guests. You guys are both ranked in the top 2. I won't tell you what order they're in. It's kind of like that 75th anniversary team. You're just on it. But no rankings. But thank you guys so much for jumping on. This is a lot of fun. And we won't be able to do this on Locked On Warriors ever again, but I hope that we do get invited to a different podcast that one of the other people on this show happens to host.
It would have to be Warriors Huddle because Warriors Off Court.
Connor, you are on fire.
I mean, suddenly your trivia knowledge has returned, man. Just via the process of elimination, you knocked that out.
Nothing gets past you. Nothing gets past you.
When I am not spending my time looking up really good Argentinian high school players, I am, in fact, hosting a podcast. I would be proud to have you boys on. In fact, let's use this to invite you. If you gentlemen are in fact available, we'd love to have you on just next week. Come and join me in a week. We'll do this again.
Let's do it. We'll get beers, Zoom beers. It'll be like a Zoom happy hour.
Let's go. It's on.
And Wes, you and this podcast will be deeply missed. I already miss you on the beat, though you're doing your thing at West Side. I get it. I get the email in my inbox every morning. Give it a read. You're killing it. Anyone who's not already subscribed needs to do so ASAP. It's awesome.
Support him, you guys. Not just because it'll help you. Obviously, you're going to enjoy his work, his opinions, his takes. All of them are worth reading and listening to and checking out on a daily basis. But do it also to help him. Wes has been here on a daily basis for you. He's fired you up. He's entertained you, the whole 9 yards. So if nothing else, subscribe, help this man. And I certainly will. And congratulations on moving on, man. You'll definitely be missed.
It's much appreciated, guys. That'll do it for Locked On Warriors. We'll catch you next time.